Hi, if this is your first time here, welcome to my YouTube channel. Or if you're like me and you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Chaotic Curl, and in today's video, we're actually gonna be making a cardigan. But before we get to that, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and of course, don't forget to look for me on TikTok and on Instagram at chaoticcurl_crafts, where you'll be able to see pictures of this project that we're making for this week, as well as previous projects that I've made, and a couple of different reels and TikToks that I've made as well. So as I said, for this week's project, we're gonna be making a cardigan, and it's actually gonna be a color blocked cardigan with some yarn that I got at Hobby Lobby. The yarn that I was able to pick up at Hobby Lobby is actually gonna be this Yarn Bee Bamboo-tiful. And I have it in the color linen, as you can see here, which is a very pretty off-white sort of cream, kind of khaki color. And also in the color rose, which is a very pretty pink mauve color. The yarn actually calls for a size 4mm hook, which I have right here. And like I said, we're going to be making a color blocked cardigan, so I am going to be using these two colors to make that cardigan. So let's get started. Okay, and actually just before we get started, I do need to let you guys know just a little bit of detail about this pattern. Now it is going to be pretty simple since I'm just going to be using the double crochet. So you do want to make sure that you know how to 1, double crochet, 2, increase in a double crochet, 3, decrease in a double crochet, and I'm actually going to be showing you guys how to make a single crochet ribbing for the cuff of the sleeve, as well as how to attach 2 panels using the double crochet stitch. I did also make sure to list down in the description box all of the supplies and materials that you're going to be needing for this pattern so that you can get everything ready before we get started. But now that you know that, let's get started. So for this pattern, what I'm doing that's going to be a little bit different from your usual cardigan pattern is I'm actually working the back in 2 separate panels. So what I'm actually going to be doing is making a rectangle where I have both colors on one side and then another rectangle that matches it so that I have both colors on the other side, and I'll be attaching them in the middle for the back panel, and then I'll just work the front panel with the 2 colors stacked on top of each other as well. And for the front panel, I am going to be making it V-neck, so that top color is actually going to have the decrease in it so that I have the V opening, but again, it's going to be attached over to the back panel, so I should have 2 very long rectangles by the time I'm done with this project, and then I'll just, like I said, attach the back panel in the middle, and that will be the 2 panels that I need for the front and back of this cardigan. So as you can see, I'm actually just working it up now. What I did was measure myself in half. So I measured myself in the front, half of my front. So that could be 1/2 of the cardigan. And then of course, I'll work the other half in the same number of stitches. So if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure I started off with between 40 to 50 stitches for that front portion. And it's about 10 inches across. So from there, I'll make sure that the back panel matches as well, just so that it doesn't end up being much bigger in the back than it is in the front. But the entire purpose of it is just to work everything up, so that way the front and back panel are the same width and of course the same length, so that way everything fits around my body perfectly. So this is measured more or less than actually following a pattern, but once you know what your measurements are and you're aware of how many stitches it takes, it does make it a little bit easier to make your own crochet clothing, because you already have in mind how much yarn it might take up, and you know, the little different details like that, which make it easier to just get working. But for this cardigan, like I said, I am just working it up with double crochet. So I'm just double crocheting all of the panels, and of course double crocheting the colors together, so that way everything works out together. And I am making sure to alternate the sides. So if on the right side I started off with the rose and linen, then on the left side I'll start off with the linen and then rose. So that way the colors are not on the same level as each other. It's more of like a checkerboard, I guess you could say. So that way they're opposite of each other. But that's basically what I'm doing for this cardigan, and I'm just going to keep working it up from here and show you guys what it looks like when I'm done with the panels. And I actually really enjoyed working with this yarn. Aside from it being my favorite color, the rose color is super soft, very easy to work with. The only issue that I really did have was that the separate threads of bamboo yarn kept coming apart. I'm pretty sure it was just the way that I was crocheting with it. I was crocheting, I'm guessing, opposite of the way that it was spun around. So it did keep unspinning, and then the threads did become a little bit annoying to work with, but I did thoroughly enjoy working with this yarn, and just seeing the panels come together was an experience all on its own. But they were definitely beautiful colors to have coming together, and like I said, the yarn was so soft that I didn't get the usual yarn burn that I've started to get accustomed to getting from these yarns. So I definitely had a great time making this project. So as you can see, I was able to start the color change for this panel. So I did switch over to the linen color, and I'm sure you can also tell there isn't any spare yarn, or there isn't a tail of yarn trailing through for me to sew in at the end. And that's because I don't like sewing in the edges. So what I actually do use is the magic knot for my crochet projects, just so that the edges stay smooth and there isn't too many ends to sew in at the end of the project, since I've realized I really don't like sewing at the end of my crochet projects. So that's usually what I do use in order to avoid sewing anything together. And of course, for every project, I do make sure to select where the front of the panel is going to be, as well as where the back of the panel is going to be. And I also decide before I even get started on the project which sides are going to be sewn together at the end. So I do understand that I'm going to have to sew the panels together, but at least this way I won't have to worry about the magic knot showing up on any of the front portions, or on any of the on any of the portions of the project that I'm going to be showing. So it gets tucked away, that little knot that I make gets tucked away in the actual sewing of the panels, so it's in between two panels by the end of this project. So now I've made it to the point of the project where I'm ready to start reducing for that v-neck. So I start off with my stacked single crochet turning chain at the first stitch there, and then for the next one I'm actually going to start reducing. So I started it off like a regular double crochet, then I go into the stick right next to it, I yarn over and pull through the first 3, then yarn over and pull through 2 to finish my double crochet. And of course I do reduce 2 times, so I'm going to do another decrease in the next 2 stitches as well, and then for the rest of the row I'm just going to double crochet like normal. And as you can see, I'm just showing you guys what it looks like once the decrease has been done. It's an invisible decrease, so I'm just going to continue from there doing the double crochet, and then for the next row it's just going to be double crochet all the way across as well. So I am decreasing and alternating rows. And I actually found I really do enjoy decreasing this way in alternating rows, because it does make the slope of the decrease just a bit more gentle than what I would normally do. I usually don't make my projects very big, so when I do decide to decrease, I have to decrease in a more extreme way. So I'm usually decreasing in every row, but for this project, since I did decide, to use it more as a mental health project, as a project to enjoy the craft, and just to take my time and crochet and try different techniques, even though it is very basic what I'm doing in this project, I just took my time as far as decreasing in every other row, just to see what it would look like, and also to see if I would like it. And I actually did find that I enjoyed it very much. So I do decrease in one row and then not the next row, and in one row and then not the next row. So basically I've picked the side where I'm going to start the decrease, or where I want the decrease to be, and then in the next row I just work this stitch, in this case it would be the double crochet, back to that side, and then again decrease, and then go back to the side and then decrease again that way. And as you'll see at the end, the decrease ends up being very gentle, but it is very notable, and it's very beautiful. And so usually what I do is once I've reached the point in the decrease where it's no longer hitting me in the neck, I do stop decreasing. So I'll just work across back and forth with regular double crochet to finish off the panel. And then I just finish the row that I'm working on, cut off my yarn, and that's the end of the panel. And this is one of the front panels completed. Now that I have that one front panel done, I'm just going to make the second front panel, which, like I said, I'm starting it off with the linen color, and then I'll make the two back panels as well, also color blocked, and I'll come back and show you guys what they look like once they're done. Okay, so this is what both of the front panels are looking like, and I actually, with my stitch markers, as you can see, I marked them with an R for the right side and an L for the left side. So this is how my color blocked cardigan is going so far, and I actually am working on the back panels right now. So I'm just going to show you guys how that's looking so far as well. Here are the two back panels completed. So now I'm just going to attach the front panels to the back panels before I attach the back panels to each other. Okay, and this is what the back panels should look like once they've been attached to the front panels. So this is for the left side, and you can see that double crochet seam in the middle there. So I'm actually going to repeat this again for the right side, just that you guys can see what it looks like, and then I'll go ahead and sew the back panels together, so that way we can complete the front and back panels of the cardigan. Now I've finished all the panels and I'm ready to start attaching at the shoulder for the front and back panels. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that. I do start off with my stack single crochet turning chain, as you can see here. And what I do is that first single crochet, then I extend the loop a little bit and I go through that first loop on the other panel. So this would be the front panel that I'm working on here. And I'm just going to thread that loop from the stack single crochet through and then finish the stitch. So this is me going through the leg of the first single crochet, pulling up a loop, yarn over, and then finish that stitch. Now, as you see, I'm going to pull out the loop, or I should have pulled out the loop, and then I'm going to go into the next stitch from the front panel, attach the loop again to my hook, pull it through this loop on the front panel, and then I'm going to work my double crochet as normal into the next stitch in the back panel. And I'm just going to continue that way, where I will thread the loop through the front panel stitch to the next corresponding stitch on the front panel, and then finish the double crochet in the back panel as normal. And that's actually how I'm going to be attaching the two panels using the double crochet stitch. So I'm going to just continue doing a little bit more so you guys can see what it looks like, but I do show you what it looks like at the end. And just in case I forgot to mention, you do want to do this with the wrong sides together, so you have the right sides facing you. And now I'm ready to get started working on the sleeves. So I do start off with the cuff of the sleeve, and like I said, this is going to be the single crochet ribbing. So what I'm doing here is just starting with a chain of 12 chains, and then I'm going to skip the first one and do a single crochet in the back bump of every other chain, so that way I end up with 11 stitches of single crochet, and then I'll let you guys know what I'm going to do next. So what I meant by under the back bump, as you can see, once the chain has been turned around, there are little lumps for each chain stitch in the front. So what I'm doing is just putting my hook right under, yarning over, pulling through, and then completing my single crochet stitch. So now I'm ready to start the ribbing pattern, and as you can see, there are 2 loops on the V of the stitch. So you're going to go into that back loop and just work a single crochet like normal. So again, for the next stitch, I'm going into the back loop, yarning over, pulling through, and then completing my single crochet stitch. And you're just going to continue that way all the way down the row until you're ready to get to the other side. But of course, don't forget to finish the row with a chain stitch. To finish the row of ribbing, I actually go under both loops of the V and not just the back loop, just so that it's a bit more sturdy at the end of the row. So as you see there, or as you're supposed to see it, I went through both loops and then I did my single crochet like normal, chain 1, and then we're going to turn my work and I'm going to get started on the other side doing the same thing, going under the back loop, so that second loop of the V, working my single crochet, and I'm going to continue across the row until I get to the last stitch where I'll work under both loops. So I'll work it as I'm crocheting like normal and do my single crochet there. But that is what it's looking like, and that's actually how it's going to continue to look as you keep building up. So just continue this way until you reach the length that you want it to be. I go to the length of my wrist, which in this case would be 6 inches, just so that I'm sure my hand and my wrist fit snugly through, and then I'll be able to get started on the sleeve. And of course, I'll show you guys what I do there. So this is what the ribbing looks like now that it's done. So what I'm going to do is actually add a row of single crochet to this side of the ribbing where I'm going to be building up my sleeve. So I did make sure to finish with a chain 1, and now I'm just going to go into every row of ribbing that I made and add a single crochet to the top of it. And at the end of this, I actually do end up with 36 single crochets. So from there, I'll let you know what I'm gonna do, but that's what I'm basically doing right now, just establishing my first row of single crochets so that way I have a solid base to get started on my double crochets with. And for the last single crochet, I do make sure to include the tail yarn just so that I can position it under the stitches for the next row. And as you can see, I don't finish with a chain 1 because from here, I'm actually going to start my stacked single crochet and start double crocheting across. So now that I've established my row, I'm going to get started with that stack single crochet for my turning chain. And as you can see, I'm keeping the tail yarn underneath my working stitches just so that that's one less thing I have to sew in at the end. So I'm just going to continue doing a double crochet into each stitch across this row, and then I'll come back and show you guys what I do for the next row. So now with that first row of double crochets completed, I am going to get the second row started again with my stacked single crochet for the turning chain, and then I'm actually going to work a second double crochet into that same stitch. So we're going to be increasing by 2 double crochets in each stitch, and then after this row is completed, I actually do continue increasing from there. I don't increase in every stitch, it's just at the beginning and at the end, where I do 2 double crochets at the beginning and 2 double crochets at the end. So the first stitch and the last stitch of each row for 9 rows until I finish with 90 stitches. And this actually gives me the volume that I like to have in my sweaters and in my cardigans, just so that I'm able to wear clothes or long sleeve, short sleeve. I have an option of what it is that I want to wear and what it is that I can wear the cardigan with. And I don't really like the feeling of anything being too close, tight to my arms. So I do prefer to have that volume in the sleeve. But I do like to get it also started at the cuff, just so that while I'm building out the sleeve or as I'm crocheting the sleeve, I don't have to worry about increasing or decreasing as I get farther into the body of the sleeve. So this is what I'm doing now. Okay, so here is the completed bottom portion of the sleeve. I'm ready to cut off the working yarn and change colors, but this is what it's looking like so far. And just to let you guys know, after I did the increase where I did 2 double crochet in each stitch, I also made sure to add 2 double crochet at the end of each row for 9 rows. So that brought my stitch count up to 90, and this is what it's looking like. Now I'm just going to change colors and continue building up the sleeve, and I'll come back and show you guys when the sleeve is done. So here is all the main parts of the project. We have the left and right front and back panels, as well as the left and right sleeves. So now I'm just going to go ahead and sew everything together, and then I'll also add on finishing touches. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like sewn together, and then the finishing touches I'll add on off camera, which is going to be like the ribbing for the top and bottom as well as for the collar. This is what it looks like sewn together, and I'm also going to add buttons to this project, and I'll come back and show you guys what it looks like once it's done. And here is the finished cardigan. It is cropped to my belly button, and it is super, super cute. I love the colors. I love the way everything worked out. Look, you can see it's seamless where I double crocheted the panels together, and I did go ahead and sew everything. I also added the ribbing at the bottom and the ribbing here for the collar as well as for the button panels, and of course my 4 little buttons. But it's super cute. I love it, and I love the sleeves, how they turned out as well. See, pretty balloony, I guess you could say. But they're great. I definitely enjoyed making this project, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching the video of me making this cardigan. I also hope you guys had a great week. I most likely won't be posting a video next week, but I will be back soon with new projects and new ideas. So I'll see you guys there, but don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also don't forget to follow me over on Instagram and TikTok at chaoticgirl_crafts, where I'll be posting every once in a while just a couple of little things to keep up with what it is that I'm doing. So I'll see you guys over there, and once again, thanks for joining me in this video. I hope you guys had fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.